Book 1 Chapter 19. On Shuka's marriage. Sri Shuka said, O king, a great doubt arises in my mind. How can a man remain free from desires and the rewards of his actions while living in the midst of the samsara, which is entirely filled with maya? When even through the acquisition of wisdom from the Shastras and the ability to discern between the real and the unreal, the delusion of the mind is not dispelled until one engages in the practice of yoga, how then can a householder attain freedom from desires and liberation? The darkness of a room is not removed merely by mentioning the words lamp or light. Similarly, the wisdom acquired from reading the Shastras alone can never dispel the inner darkness of delusion that prevails within a person. O lion among kings, if one desires moksha, one must not commit any act of revenge, injury, or killing of any being. How can this be possible for a householder? Your desires to acquire wealth, enjoy royal pleasures, and achieve victory in battle have not subsided. How, then, can you be a Jivan Mukta, liberated while living? O king, you still perceive a thief as a thief and a saint as a saint. You continue to distinguish between a man as your relative or as a stranger. These distinctions have not vanished from your mind. How, then, can you be called Videha, one beyond bodily attachment? O king, you still perceive pungent, bitter, astringent, and sour tastes distinctly. You experience good and bad flavors accordingly. You feel joy when you succeed and sorrow when you fail. Like an ordinary man, you pass through the three states, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. How, then, can you be said to have attained the Turiya, fourth state? May I ask, do you still hold the thought that all these infantries, cavalries, chariots, and elephants belong to you? That you are the lord of all wealth and possessions? Or do you no longer cherish such notions? O king, a Mukt Purusha, liberated soul, sees a lump of earth, a piece of stone, and gold as having the same value. He perceives everything as the same Atman and does good to all beings. O king, I see that you eat sweet and delicious foods, sometimes experiencing pleasure and at other times feeling pain. So, O king, how can you truly perceive a garland of flowers and a snake as one and the same? Whatever the case may be, I find no pleasure in houses, wife, or any worldly possessions. In fact, nothing brings me joy. My heart's true desire is to wander alone, always free from any desires. Therefore, I do not wish to have any companions, desiring to be free from attachment, peaceful, and calm. I do not wish to accept anything from anyone. I will renounce all pleasures and endure pain from cold, heat, and other hardships. Sustaining myself on roots, fruits, and leaves obtained without effort, I will wander freely, like a deer. When I have no attachment whatsoever to household life and have transcended all attributes, what need do I have for a house, wealth, or a suitable wife? And when you still think of various things with a heart full of attachment, yet claim to be a Jivan Mukta, liberated while living, it is nothing but mere vanity on your part. O king, when you think and worry about your enemies, your wealth, or at times your army, how can you truly be said to be free from cares? What more can be said than the fact that many munis, despite eating moderately, controlling their senses, leading an ascetic life, and realizing the unreality of the world, still fall victim to Maya? Then what need is there to speak of you, O king? Know that the hereditary title Videha given to your line of kings is nothing but sheer insincerity. It is no different than calling an illiterate man Vidyadhara, holder of knowledge, a blind man Divakra, the sun, or a poor man Lakshmidhara, holder of wealth. Such names hold no real meaning to me. I have heard that the kings of your lineage, who were your predecessors, were called Videha in name only and not in deed. O king, in your family, there once reigned a king named Nimi. At one time, that royal sage invited his guru Vashistha to perform a sacrifice, to which Vashistha replied, I have already been invited by Indra, the lord of the Devas, to perform his sacrifice. So, O king, let me first complete his ritual. Afterward, I will take up yours. In the meantime, you may continue gathering the necessary sacrificial materials until I return. Thus saying, Vashistha went away to perform Indra's sacrifice. Meanwhile, the royal sage Nimi chose another priest, appointed him as his guru, and began his own sacrifice. Hearing this, Maharshi Vashistha became enraged and cursed him, saying, O forsaker of your guru, for the sin of abandoning your teacher, may your body be destroyed today. Upon hearing this, the royal sage also cursed Vasistha in return, saying, "Let your body fall as well." As a result, the bodies of both men perished. But, O king, a curiosity arises in my mind. How did the royal sage, whose body fell first, manage to curse his own guru afterward? Janaka said, "O Lord of Brahmans, what you have said is, in my opinion, entirely true. Nothing is false. Still, hear me out. Know that what my most revered Guru Deva has spoken to me is, in fact, the truth, and nothing else. You are now intending to leave the company of your father and go to the forest. Very well, but even then, you will undoubtedly be surrounded by the company of deer, etc. Furthermore, when the 5 elements, earth, water, air, and so on, are present and encompass everything, how can you expect to be free from all companions? So, O Muni, when you must always think about your food, how can you be said to be free from all cares? Again, even if you go to the forest, you will still have to think about your staff, deer skin, and other such things. So, you may take my case as an example, whether I think about my kingdom or not. It is like you're thinking about your staff, deer skin, etc. Your heart is tainted with Vikalpa Jnana, knowledge of doubt, duality, etc., which is why you have come here from a distant land. But my heart is free from such doubts, and I remain completely cheerful here. Oh, best of Brahmans, I have no doubt whatsoever on any point, and therefore, I take my food and go to sleep with great pleasure. The thought, I am not bound by this world, fills me with constant happiness of the highest degree. But you consider yourself to be bound, and therefore, you experience constant pain. So, let go of the idea that you are bound, and be happy. This body is mine, this knowledge leads to my bondage. This body is not mine, this knowledge leads to freedom. So know this for certain, all this wealth, kingdom, etc., are not mine. Suta said, hearing the words of the royal sage, Shuka Deva became exceedingly glad and exclaimed, "Sadhu, Sadhu, true saint, indeed, true saint, well said." He then went without delay to the pleasant ashrama of Vyasa. Vyasa, seeing his son return, was overjoyed and embraced him. He took the smell of his head and inquired about his welfare once again. Then, Shuka Deva, well versed in all the Shastras and always eager to study the Vedas, sat by the side of his father with an enlightened mind in his lovely ashrama. As he reflected on the state of the high-souled Janaka in his kingdom, he began to feel the highest peace. Although Shuka had adopted the path of yoga, he married the daughter of a Muni named Pivari, who was very beautiful, fortunate, and enhanced the glory of her father's family. First, 4 sons were born from the sperm of Shuka and the ovum of Pivari: Krishna, Gaurprabha, Bhuri, and Devashruta. Then a daughter, named Kirti, was born to them. Vyasa's son, Shuka, endowed with the fire of asceticism, gave his daughter Kirti in marriage to the high-souled Anuha, the son of Vibhraja. As time passed, a son was born from the womb of Kirti and the sperm of Anuha, a son who became the powerful King Brahmadatta, a knower of Brahma and endowed with wealth and prosperity. Some time later, Anuha, the son-in-law of Shuka Deva, received the Mayabija, seed of illusion, and the highest knowledge of yoga from Narada. He then handed over his kingdom to his son and went to the ashrama of Badarika, where he attained liberation. The Devarshi Narada gave him the mantra, the bija of Maya, and by the influence of that mantra and the grace of the Devi, the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman arose in him without any obstacle, granting him liberation. On the other hand, Shuka Deva, always averse to any company, left his father and went to the beautiful mountain Kailas. There, he began to meditate on the immovable Brahman and remained in that state. After some time, the highly energetic Shuka Deva attained Siddhi, supernatural powers. Anima, Laghima, and other powers arose within him, and he ascended high into the air from the top of the mountain. There, he began to roam freely, and he appeared like a second sun. When Shuka arose from the peak, it split into 2, and various ominous signs became visible. As Shuka Deva, appearing like a second sun due to the dazzling brilliance of his body, suddenly vanished like air, he became absorbed in the Paramatman, entering into everything and becoming invisible. Then, the Devarshis began to chant hymns in his honor. On the other hand, Vyasa Deva, deeply distressed by the separation from his son, cried out repeatedly, "Oh, my son, alas, where have you gone?" He then went to the summit of the mountain where Shuka had gone and wept bitterly. At that moment, Shuka Deva, who was residing as the Paramatman, the Supreme Self, the internal controller of all beings, and present in all beings, aware of Vyasa Deva's fatigue, distress, and crying, spoke as an echo from the mountains and trees. O Father, there is no difference between you and me when considered in the light of the Atman. Then why are you weeping for me? Even today, the echo mentioned above is clearly heard, almost daily. Seeing Vyasa Deva deeply grieved by the separation from his son and constantly crying, "Oh, my son, oh, my son," Bhagavan Maheswar came there and consoled him, saying, "O Vyasa Deva, your son is the foremost of the yogis. He has attained the highest state, which is very rare for ordinary persons who are not self-controlled. So, do not grieve any longer. O sinless one, when you have realized the Brahma Tattva, the essence of Brahman, you should not express any sorrow for your Shuka, who is now stationed in that Brahman. Your fame is now unrivaled, only because you have a son like him." Vyasa Deva said, "O Lord of the Devas, O Lord of the world, what am I to do now? My grief does not leave my heart, no matter what I do. My eyes are still unsatisfied in seeing my son. They long to see him once more." Hearing these sorrowful words of Vyasa, Bhagavan Mahadev said, "O Muni Shardula, I grant this boon to you. You will see the form of your son, abiding in shadow, very beautiful, by your side. O destroyer of enemies, now abandon your grief by seeing the shadow form of your son." When Bhagavan Mahadev said this, Vyasa began to see the bright shadow form of his son. Granting this boon, Bhagavan Mahadev vanished then and there. When he disappeared, Vyasa, deeply distressed by the bereavement of his son, returned with a heavy heart to his own hermitage. Thus ends the 19th chapter of the first book, which describes the marriage of Shuka in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses composed by Maharshi Veda Vyasa.